Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining me at the table. Got a question for you tonight. Have you ever felt something was so important that you said it twice? The Apostle Paul, in the book of First Corinthians, both in chapter 6 and chapter 10, makes this same comment. So important to him that he mentioned it twice. Of course, in two different contexts, but it's something I wanted to talk about tonight. In First Corinthians chapter 6, Paul says, everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. I like the way the message says it, the translation of the message. Eugene Patterson says, everything, though technically not bad, is not always really good for me. If I continue to do it, I'm just giving in to my whims. Let me try to put that into some perspective for you. You ever feel like there's something that you really, really want to do, but you know down inside, might not be the best thing for you? I read an article today from a woman who is recovering from being an addict. She said she remembers when she asked the first time, "What's it like to try meth?" And her friends told her, "Oh, it's like this burst of energy. It's exhilarating. It's thrilling." And she wanted to do it even more then. Though she knew it wasn't quite right. She knew she probably shouldn't do it. It's not beneficial. But she did. And then she said, now, from now on, what I'm going to tell people is if they ask me, what's it like to try meth? I'm going to tell them it's like losing everything you have. And she goes on and on. It's like losing this and losing that, including your children. It's like asking people about your own flesh and blood. How are they doing? Because they've been taken away from you. It's about giving up and stealing things that of great value so you can sell, so you can buy more dope. And she goes on and on and on. And it was a powerful message. This lady now, I guess, travels around the United States giving her testimony about how she overcame this drug addiction. It's not always drugs, though. Not everything is beneficial. Food, we eat lots of food. We eat all the time. But it's not always good for us, is it? And we know that. We know that when we drive through McDonald's or Wendy's, it's quick, it's easy. But it's not always the best thing for us, is it? Everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Paul then goes on again in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, I believe it is, talk about it again. It might be chapter 12, verse 10. It's either 10:12 or 12:10. But anyway, he goes on twice to talk about everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. So think about that. Let that sink in for a moment. You can do anything you want in this world. We have been given that by God. I mean, we've been given this brain up here that we can think for ourselves. We think and we understand. We have knowledge, and therefore we do. Sure, we can do whatever we want. And I really like this because it eliminates the negativity. How many times have we heard, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that, but people do it anyway? If you can't do it, that means that it's not possible to do it, right? You can't call somebody a name. You can't be jealous about somebody. You can't lie. Well, people do those things all the time, so obviously we can do it, right? But it's not always beneficial, is it? No, it's not good to be jealous. It's not good to lie. It's not good to call somebody a name. In fact, Jesus told us that when we call somebody a name, that's murder. That's murder of character. It's murder. So tonight I have a special guest. No, there's not another green chair here. But my special guest is an invention from the 1980s, something I grew up with. I know a lot of you out there that are watching may have had one of these when you were younger. Maybe you have one now. It's called the Rubik's Cube. Now, why would I bring a Rubik's Cube to the table? Well, everything about this is permissible. There are billions of combinations for this cube. I can turn it this way, then I can turn it that way. Or I can turn it back this way and turn it one more way this way, and then back, and now look, I got the colors messed up. And I can turn it back and get it back together. All these different combinations. It's right now it's in its perfect form. It's the way it was purchased. But if I just start moving and I'm not paying any attention to what I'm doing, and you see now, I don't look anything like I used to. I made all these decisions and I've messed up. What am I going to do? How am I going to get back to normal? Some people say you have to be a genius to solve one of these things. I can do it. It just takes me a lot longer than a half an hour. So I'm not going to solve it completely during the show. But I do want to tell you that when you go to solve the cube, they tell you to start in the middle. Pick a source. Pick a point where you start. This never changes. No matter how many times I move, watch. I'm moving all the sides every which way, messing this thing up even more so I can't possibly get it back together. And it's still there in the center. The blue square, still in the center. Sure, I can move it this way, but it stays right there. I can move it completely all the way around. It still stays right there. That's God. Never moves. Unchanging. You can move things all around God, but you're not going to move God. So the next thing they tell you is pick a point, get one solid color. Most people can get one color. I mean, I can sit here in the next couple of minutes and I can get one color and, you know, I've already messed it up really badly, but anyway, if I'm not sitting on a camera with a camera in front of me, I can usually get a one color pretty quickly. And I think most people probably can too. The problem with just getting one color though is there's more to it. Isn't that the way it is in life a lot? There's more to than just getting the one side. Okay, great. I got one color, solid. Look around the edge here. It's still kind of a mess. What if I get that one color and all the other colors around the side, and then if I turn it upside down, I kind of have like a foundation, wouldn't I? So let's try that. I'm going to get the one color. Now look at that. I got blue. I got red. I got white. I got orange. I got yellow. And not only that, knowing that the centers don't change, I got the red with the red, the orange with the orange, the yellow with the yellow, the white with the white. Now I've got a foundation. When you get your foundation in Jesus Christ, it changes everything. If you try to solve the top layer, the green layer here, without solving the bottom, what good does it do? If you try to fix up your life and get off the drugs or get off the alcohol or quit the gambling or quit the online addictions that there may be, all these different things that we can do. If we quit but don't have that foundation, we're just going to fall apart. We're just going to do this, completely come apart. Another way to solve the cube, but see, you're going to find your life in shambles that way. Now I'm going to put this back together. Okay? And when I get it put back together, though, it's still not going to be solved. It's still going to be a mess. So you may think you're putting your life back together, but look, it's still not done. So now I got to solve the middle layer. One color. See how I got blue? I got orange and yellow, and there's that one piece right there in the center that is in the right spot. I need to get these other ones in the right spot too. When you start to get things together in the right spot, then, and you still have your foundation, then you know you're really making a difference in your life, because God is not going to let you fail. He is going to help you get your life back together the way it needs to be. Why? Because that's what he wants to do. He wants you to be all that he has in store for you. He knows that you can do absolutely anything in this world, but he also knows that only some things are actually very beneficial for you. And that's why he will help you with those beneficial things. If you listen to his voice, he will tell you what to do. And you won't find yourself scrambling for the answers. So if you follow him, not only do you have a foundation, but you got 2 rows. All that's left now is the top. Now, I could sit here and just finish solving this cube, but that's not the point, okay? Some of you are probably saying, there's no way I can do it. Yeah, I can, but like I said, it's going to take me more than a half hour. But I want to show you something. We're not just a Rubik's Cube. We come in all shapes and sizes. We come in all different colors. Yes, that's a circle Rubik's Cube. Some of us may look like a cube, but we come in with different styles of colors and shapes. And then some of us are just so complicated, like this dodecahedron. There's no way I'm going to mess this one up. I'll never get it back together. But you see, the different combinations of this one is much more than that. But again, everything, I can move this so many different ways and change these colors. But I'll never get it back to the way it was. But everything is permissible. So when we go around telling people, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, how many times have you ever been told you can't do something and that's the very thing you want to do? Have you ever said, don't tell me what I can't do? Because it challenges you to want to do it. So I'm trying to teach us now to, instead of saying can't, say, yeah, you can, but is it worth it? We should go to God and say, God, I know that I can do X, but is it worth it for me? Is that what you want me to do? And I'm telling you, if you're not going to God, you're a mess. You're completely messed up. You don't have that foundation in Jesus Christ. Then what are you even listening for here? Now, I'm glad that you are. But what I'm saying is, we got to have that foundation. We got to be grounded in Christ Jesus, because what happens is he takes our messed up lives and he puts us back together so that we can find purpose, so that we can find ourselves, so that we can become the creations that God wanted us to be. But if we don't have a foundation in Christ, then we have nothing. I'm sitting here and I'm putting this thing back together for us as an example of what God can do in our lives. So the next time you feel like, yeah, I want to go out with the guys, I want to get drunk, and you know what, maybe meet some fast women and, have a good time. Yeah, I just said that. I just went there because let's face it, guys, I'm talking to you guys. When we were younger, or if you're young now, don't tell me you don't think about that. You don't consider that. Even you women, sometimes I think you might consider things like that too. But is it beneficial? Oh, sure, you can do it. You can do whatever your little heart desires. But in the end, is it worth it? What do you gain? Now, a lot of people will say, well, I've messed up. I'm already too far gone. So all those mistakes that I've made, God's not going to forgive me. Not true. Not true at all. Because see, what God does is he takes the broken pieces when our life is in shambles, and he puts us back together so that we're whole again. Yeah, I know, I took it apart to solve it, but I can do it. I just need a little more time than the time I have on this show. But my point is, no matter what you look like, no matter what color you are, no matter what shape you come in, no matter what you think of yourself, there's all kinds of different combinations we can do here. But only one really leads to something beneficial. It starts with believing that Jesus died on the cross for our sins. Because when we believe that, we're forgiven. How? How can the death of one man make that much difference? To understand that, we have to understand God, who created Adam and Eve to be able to do whatever they wanted. They made a bad choice. They chose sin because it was there. It was available. They were tempted. And they chose to pick off that tree and eat the fruit. And they gained knowledge. Knowledge that they could do whatever they wanted. They could stay up late playing video games. Fall asleep the next day. Oh, we can blame it on medical problems. We can blame it on relationship problems. We can blame it on whatever we want. Choice, the fact of the matter is we made a choice to stay up late. They knew they had choices. And with those choices, they chose wrong things. God is righteous. God never chooses evil, never chooses sin. Jesus never sinned in his life. 1 Corinthians chapter 5, he who is without sin was made to be sin for us, so that when we die, he takes our place. When we die, we should go to hell because of our sins. But when we die, Jesus stood there in our place, and he became our sacrifice. Because God said, if you're going to sin, you're going to have sacrifice. He said, Phil, you like this cube? I want you to give it to me. You never see it again? That's your sacrifice for your sins. That's the Old Testament. And not only that, when they gave up those bulls, those rams, those doves, they were giving up something that meant a lot to them. That was their money. That was their livelihood. It was a real significant sacrifice. God wants those sacrifices from us today, too. Now, those sacrifices we give, they don't save us. Jesus was the sacrifice that saved us. He's the one who died on the cross for us. And because we believe that, that's our foundation. Now, when things get messed up, because we believe that, God can put it back together. When we go that wrong direction and we say, I want to move this way, then I want to move this way, then I want to move this way, God, because we believe in Jesus Christ, can put it back together, and we can become whole once again. And sure, we get put back together and this happens. We get all messed up again. Then what do? We go back to God and we say, God, I messed up again. I want to be made whole again. Yeah, you can do that. You see, God isn't going to zap you dead for one wrong thing. Because remember, the way Paul said this, everything is permissible. You can do whatever you want. That's from God. You can do whatever you want. It's just not always beneficial for you. There's no can't in that. You say, well, Phil, what about the 10 Commandments? Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not lie. Right? Thou shalt not. Right. That's negative. No, he's telling you those things aren't beneficial. God's not negative. God's positive. When God's in your life, you become positive. There's no negative. He pushes the negative out. Negative, you know where negative comes from? Electrons. No, it comes from the enemy. Whispering thoughts. You're not good enough. You are not who you think you are. You are not one of God's. You are something very bad. That's not coming from God. What God says is, okay, you messed up. It wasn't beneficial. I'm going to restore you. He says, okay, you turned it the wrong way. You kind of got yourself in a pickle. I'm going to turn it back and make you whole again, pure as white as snow. Once again, God doesn't say, all right, you know what, you turned the pluses to mixed with the stars and the other shape here. You're done. No, he doesn't say that. He says, look, I love you. I created you. Even though you don't think you know me as well as you do, I'm always with you. Always. No matter who you are. God's not just with Christians. He's with non-Christians too. Wooing them, calling them, trying to convince them to follow him. He's with us all. And he's always putting us back together. So no matter what you've done, no matter where you are right now, no matter how far gone you think you really are, you can be put back together in the right way. So thank you to my friends, the Rubik's Cubes, for joining me tonight, the Rubik's Circle, the Rubik's Dodecahedron. I hope that this lesson has helped you understand a little bit better who you are. Because who you are, no matter who you are, is so important to God. So incredibly important to God. Just like any child is important to their parents, we are important to God. And he will do whatever he can for us to know that, to know him, to believe him, to follow him, to trust him, to acknowledge him. And he, as we go down this path of life and we make mistakes, we make wrong choices. We should have chosen this when this is what we chose. Now what do? Are we stuck? Sometimes, yeah. You know what? Sometimes we make bad choices and we're stuck. But you know what? God wasn't fooled by that. God says, I had this in mind, but you chose this. Now I'm going to work with this, and we're still going to get to where we wanted to be. I wanted you to go here, then here, but you chose to go here. I'm still going to get you here. Okay? You're never stuck permanently. Yeah, you might think you're stuck, but you're not, because God is going to use it. Romans 8:28, for we know in all things that God works for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. He works for good for those who love him, and he has called according to his purpose. His purposes are far greater than anything we can ever understand. We just don't fully know the mind of God. And even though we mess up and we turn the front face when we should have turned the back face on the cube, even though we got the blue but we don't have the colors around it, God's going to take that and he's going to put it all back together, and he's going to get you to that point where you need to be. I know some of you out there right now are saying, this is too good to be true, and you just don't know the circumstances. I'm like that person that you were talking about in the beginning, or I'm even worse than that person you were talking about in the beginning. You know what? I don't know everybody's circumstances. I don't. I know what I've been through. I know what I've become. And that's pretty much all I know. I know my family. I know my friends, some of their stories. I don't know the intimate details between you and God. But that's the blessedness of it, is because it's between you and God. We individually, every single person who has breath in their lungs can have a relationship with God. It's not just for the pastors. It's not just for the people who give more money in church. It's not for the people who just go to church on Sunday. I don't care if you don't go to church on Sunday. God still wants to have a relationship with you. Everything is permissible. Everything is permissible. Everything is permissible. Now, not all those things are beneficial, but God, like I said, He chose this for you. You chose this. He's not going to stop you. He's not going to say, hey, you made a mistake. Get back over here. No, He's going to say, okay, we're going to work with this, and we're going to get you here. Guaranteed every time. You can't go wrong with God. No matter what, you just simply can't go wrong. So when you really think you've messed up, go to God. When you think that there's just no hope at all, go to God. When you think that, wow, I don't even know who God is anymore, I feel so far gone, I don't even know if I've been wrong my entire life. And let me tell you, I've felt that way. Yes. Questioning if even God existed, wondering if I had gone too far in the wrong direction, wondering if I had ruined my life, wondering if I should just take my life to get it over with. But you know what I did? I went to God, and He was there for me. And He can be there for you too. Everything's permissible, just not everything's beneficial. Careful what you do. Make good choices. I'm going to leave you with this one story of a man I know who made a bad choice. But wow, did he turn his life around. He was in college, he needed some extra money, and he decided to start selling some drugs. Started out simple, just a couple of things to his friends, and realized, hey, I've got a little extra money now. The allure of the money. Was that wrong? According to society, according to laws, yes, that's wrong. But was it permissible? I just said everything's permissible. So he did it. But not everything is beneficial. So he made a lot of money until the DEA found out what he was doing and started following him, building a case against him. And he was making a lot of money. And then one day, they come to his house, scared his mom and dad, grabbed him, put handcuffs on him, took him away, took him somewhere and said to him, laid out everything they had against him and said, this is what you're facing. You're not getting out of this. He felt like he'd ruined his life. He felt like it was over. I mean, I can just imagine the gut feeling, the turning of the stomach, like, what did I do? But this man, he went to prison for 5 years, served his time. But in prison, he learned this new thing called CrossFit, and he started working out, and he came out stronger, physically and spiritually, stronger than when he went in. He repented of his sins. He turned to God. He turned to CrossFit, but he also turned to God. And now this man is an inspiration for many people. I mean, I'm 49 years old. He's probably mid-30s. And I look up to him. And he's shorter than me, too. But I still look up to him because of the way he turned his life around. He took a bad situation. He let God turn it into good. Now he inspires people to make good choices. Yeah, he lost 5 years of his life. But he still turns to God and makes good choices. And if you're watching this, and you know I'm talking about you, drop me a note, let me know you saw it. But some of you know who I'm talking about, but don't put his name out there, please. Just, you know who I'm talking about, just leave it at that. My point is, anything. You can do anything. What's the worst thing we say in society? Killing someone. I'm asking you not to kill anybody, but you can kill someone and God can still redeem you. God can redeem anyone. It's a great power that lives within us, that not so that it gives us whatever we want, but it gives us life, the way life is meant to be. I tell you right now, I am closer to God now than I've been in my entire life. I don't have it easy. I still struggle with a lot of things. I still do things I shouldn't do. I still struggle with what the future holds, knowing that God has it in his hands. I don't have to worry, but I still do. We all do, right? I do it a lot less now as I got closer to God. But what I'm saying is, you might feel very far from God right now, but you can be a lot closer. I can't do it for you. You have to make that choice. Say, God, what are the beneficial things for me? God, I've screwed up. I made a mess of my life. Help me be put back together. Look, I can't even straighten myself out. Help me be put back together, God. Put the pieces back in place so I can live my life the way you want it to be lived. And you'll still struggle. You'll still have problems. But you're gonna be closer to God. And that's a beautiful thing. Let me pray for you before we go. Father, I pray for every single person out there watching this right now who wants to know you more, who wants to draw closer to you, who wants to have a better relationship with you, who wants to know who you even are, who's right now saying, I don't even know if there is a God, but I want to know. Who's out there saying, there's not even a God. Speak to that person too. And to that person, Lord, who's been going to church for years and years and years and still says, why, God, are you still so far from me? Show them that you're right there, right next to them. God, I pray that you bless every single person for watching this show tonight. Bless us and keep us strong, move us forward in your will, that we may know you and trust you all the days of our lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Well, that's it for tonight, everyone. I really appreciate you joining me tonight at the table. I'll see you next week.